When looking back at some of the older cards in the Pokemon CCG, you may find cards that are rather worded weirdly or just straight up change the original rules of the game. Cards that either allow you to play two supporters per turn or even Pokemon that act like energy cards. Some of these cards completely broke the meta when it came to the competitive decks. And starting up with the number 5, it may be the lowest on the list, but it outbeats most cards when it's attack and ability. Sableye from the Diamond and Pearl sets has an amazing ability called Overeager, which allows you to always go first as long as you had Sableye in the active spot when you were setting up. Meaning if your opponent voted to go first and they won the coin flip, and you had Sableye starting and you were supposed to go second, you actually were supposed to go first. This unique ability allowed players to make crazy consistency, allowing it to bypass an important rule in the game, which is rarely ever seen printed on cards. And for his first attack, Impersonate, which is absolutely free, mind I say, added massive consistency to any deck because it allowed you to search your deck for a supporter, discard it, and use the effect of that supporter for its attack. For a time where you could attack going on your first turn, this gave you the ability to play a supporter on that very turn. Sableye also saw play in the World Championships 2010 with the Garchomp deck, and knowing Sableye with its history of cards, this Pokemon is always known to have some really weird effects or just having broken gameplay. Number 4 may not have a unique ability, but it has a funny gimmick when compared to its counterparts in later prints. Uxie, from the same era as Sableye but in the Legends Awakened set, has a nice ability that allows players to make their decks way consistent in draw. Uxie's setup ability, when played from your hand, made you draw cards until you have 7 in your hand. And like in the name, it really could change the start from being terrible to the best, allowing you to set up on your first turn or second. Unlike Sableye, Uxie was a card that could be used in more decks, as which deck didn't want to draw in the first place? And like its counterpart, Shaman EX, which was printed later in the black and white, with the same ability but with it being one card less. And on a side note, every single deck, I swear, every single deck in the World Championships ran Uxie. Like, this ability was absolutely insane. Imagine if you Ultra Balled 2 cards from your hand, and then you Ultra Balled another 2 cards from your hand. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't there when it was printed, but imagine throwing all those cards away and you play Uxie from your hand. Dude, you just draw a whole new hand, and imagine that. You can still use the supporter on your turn. So, that's why I think this ability is absolutely so unique, and I would love to see if this card was printed again. And from this list on, you are going to see some weird abilities that are rather broken. Number 3 is a retro card, and can be counted as a control card in the list. Slowking's ability with the best luck could stop your opponent from playing any trainers from your hand. And before we talk about its ability, mind that all trainers back in retro, or all these old cards, were treated as item cards, meaning you can play them as many times as you can. But Slowking's Mind Game ability activated whenever your opponent would play any trainer card. Flip a coin, and if heads, that card would do nothing and it would be put on top of your opponent's deck. This would not only mess up your opponent's top deck, but it would also just straight up deny turns sometimes. Similar to Vileplume, which 100% blocks item cards for both players, Slowking has a 50% chance to block it every single time your opponent uses a trainer. But like all coin flip abilities or attacks, if you land all heads, it's going to be the best, but if you land all tails, you're just going to regret playing this card. So I don't know, man, if you're playing retro and you want to run this, good luck. Good luck. Comboing back-to-back Psychic Pokemon, number 2 has a similar effect to Slowking, except Gardevoir actually wants you to use supporters in your discard pile, instead of them never being played like Slowking. Gardevoir's Telepass ability allows Gardevoir to copy the effect of one of your opponent's supporters in the discard pile and use it as this ability. Telepass is used to hopefully stop your opponent from playing supporters in general, but if they do, you can use it against your opponent. And also, mind that, it's an ability, so this allows you to play 2 supporters per turn, because it doesn't state in the ability that you can't use another supporter in the turn, meaning that you can use your supporter from the ability and a supporter for your turn. Absolutely insane. For its attack for 1 Psychic and 2 Colorless, it deals 60 damage and has the effect of shutting off all your opponent's Pokemon's abilities. An absolute control key in most decks. And just like Sableye, Gardevoir got second place in the World Championships 2010. All I'm saying is that if this card was printed now, imagine bossing and Ionoing someone in one turn, by the way. Dude, if this card is ever printed again, oh my goodness. No. And finally, for number 1, the most weird and unique Pokemon I, myself, have seen, counts not only as an energy, but as draw itself. Holland's Castform from the Ruby and Sapphire set, Holland's Phantoms. Holland's Castform did absolutely no damage for his first attack, but for one colorless, lets you draw a card for each Delta Pokemon you have in play. That's not the only thing that's unique about this Pokemon. Castform can literally turn into energy and counts as 2 universal or rainbow energies to that Pokemon that already has energy attached. Then, return that energy attached to the Pokemon into your hand and replace it with Holland's Castform. An absolutely insane card that became a staple in most decks in the format. Well, maybe not all, but it's a very unique card. The real question is it a Pokemon or is it a special energy?